Hello, it's Valerie of Valereads and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be wrapping up all the books that I read in the later part of 2017. I haven't done a proper wrap-up since like mid-November, so I have quite a few books to talk about, so let's just get right to them. So first up, I read The Crucible by Arthur Miller, which is of course about the Salem witch trials, and I had to read this because I visited Salem in August of 2017 and I love Salem. I'm obsessed with Salem. I would love to go back. Probably never in October because I hear it's just crazy and you're shoulder to shoulder with people, but August was a perfect time to go and I had to read The Crucible. And after, really taking in the history of the Salem witch trials and, trying to learn as much as I could about what happened during those times and the effects that it had on the town, I was pretty disappointed by the catalyst that Arthur chose to put in this book to, bring on the Salem witch trials. It was pretty much just a young girl's jealousy and lust for this man, and that's why she accused people of witchcraft and condemned a bunch of innocent people to their death because, she was jealous of this man's wife. And I'm like, you couldn't have chosen literally anything else. Like, it had to be like a sexual thing, even though the real life girl during that time was only 12. Like, why'd you have to make it sexy? Like, it could have been something in the water, or mental illness, or poisoned moldy bread, or boredom, or just bad intent. I don't know, but like, you had to make it sexy. Not cool. I thought it was a good play. Regardless, it was very compelling and dramatic and good, but just for that choice alone, I don't like it. It was icky, but it was also good, but like, no. Then I read From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doughty, otherwise known as Ask a Mortician here on YouTube. I love her. I adore her. I respect so much of what she does, and she's great and very entertaining. And Aaron from The Bibliotherapist had bought and read this book and just offered it to me, like, hey, do you want From Here to Eternity for free? And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Give it to me. And now I have it. So yeah, I read this. This is all about death practices around the world. Of course, here in the West, we have a great fear and detachment from death, and Caitlin Doughty goes to places where people just, sleep next to their dead grandpa's corpse for 7 years, and it's really great and fascinating. So if you want to learn more about how death is treated all around the world, check this out. It is a good read. Then I read The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. This was a really good one as well. Carson McCullers is like Flannery O'Connor mixed with Harper Lee. She's very southern and sentimental, but also writes about real world issues. This book tackled a lot more than I thought it would. It talks about race and poverty and violence and most of all, loneliness. So this book is about a small southern town where a bunch of sort of outsiders live, and they are all drawn to this deaf-mute man named John Singer, who is one of my favorite characters that I've been fortunate enough to spend time with in this last year. I loved John Singer. He's like a sort of Boo Radley type, very silent of course because he is a deaf-mute, but he's so sentimental and endearing and lovely, and I was so glad whenever he came onto the page. All of these different outsiders are drawn to him just in their own way and go and confide in him and talk to him about their sorrows, and he's just there to listen even though he's deaf, and it's just a delight. But it's definitely just about the loneliness of being an outsider. It's just really subtly impactful and powerful. And of course, Carson McCullers only wrote this when she was 23, which is my age now, and like, what am I doing with my life? Then I read my first ever Elena Ferrante. I read The Days of Abandonment, which was translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein, and this was a powerful one too. It's just about a woman whose husband leaves her quite suddenly and just her spiraling out of control. It was very entertaining and troubling, and there was a passage in here that was maybe about 30 pages long of her day just getting worse and worse and worse, and I nearly just like had a mini panic attack for this woman because it was stressful for me to read, but I wanted to both put the book down and get through the passage just because it was causing me so much stress. So this was a powerful one, and maybe because of this I will read the Neapolitan novels. Absolutely no review that I've seen of this series has been good or compelling enough to make me want to pick up books that look like this. Why, Europa? Why? Just maybe. They're so ugly, but maybe I'll do it because Elena Ferrante is good, so you won. Then I read Laughter in the Dark by Vladimir Nabokov. This took me a while to get through just because it's not a super compelling book. It is quite cheeky and fun. It is about a sort of drab, middle-aged art dealer who is married, has a kid, but falls for this very coquettish, aspiring actress, and he makes the bad choice and decides to, you know, live his life with her, and she ruins it. The last few chapters in here were just absolutely bonkers, so I wish I had read this just in maybe a sitting or two, because then it would have left more of an impact on me, but unfortunately I kind of took several months to read it, so yeah, it's fine, it's good. You know. Then I read The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I read this with the lovely Emily over at Books Unstitched. I love her. This is our second buddy read that we've done together. We read Persuasion together in the summer of 2017, and I read this so quickly and I didn't expect to. Emily only just finished it like last night and I finished it around Christmas time, so I went into this really hard because it was very gripping and sad, and that's the type of book I like, gripping and sad. But yes, this book is about a mysterious woman that moves into Wildfell Hall, and this young man is very intrigued by her and ends up having a crush on her, and of course he wants to learn more about her because she's very mysterious. She's a young woman with a young son, and where does she come from? Why does she live alone? What's her deal? And we find out what her deal is, and her deal is very sad and troubling, and I could not get enough of it. Anne Bronte is definitely more pious than her other sisters. There's a lot of talk about religion and the afterlife and God in here, so if that's not your thing, sorry, but it's good. It's sad. I didn't cry, but I probably could have. I'm not really into big books, but I devoured this. So next up I read Moshi Moshi by Banana Yoshimoto, translated from the Japanese by Asa Yoneda, and I'm really glad that I read this. I've read two other things by Banana Yoshimoto previously. I read Kitchen and Asleep, which is a short story collection, and I, you know, never was super in love with either of those, but something about Banana Yoshimoto's writing is very special and whimsical and warm, but also very melancholic. When I saw this in the store, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give her another chance because I do like her, and I'm just hoping that this one blows me away, and I really enjoyed it. So this book is about a young woman whose father tragically passes away. He has an affair with this mysterious dark woman, and she lures him to commit suicide with her. It's an awful story. So yeah, this girl is dealing with her grief. She moves away to this trendy spot in town with a lot of great shops and restaurants, and her mother goes to live with her in her one-bedroom apartment because she can't stand to live in the old home that they lived in as a family, and it's just about their relationship together. It's about them dealing with their grief in different ways, but it's also about community and living in a trendy neighborhood and eating food. It's so much about just good food. Banana Yoshimoto is just so good at writing about those things. She's good about writing about grief and food and dreams are a big part of this book as well. So it's the quintessential Banana Yoshimoto book. And then finally I finished Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood, which I had been reading since September, and I finished it just yesterday because I just thought, you know what, Val, you put it off for so long, just finish the damn thing. And I finished the damn thing. And it was good. It's just another solid Margaret Atwood book. She knows how to write. She's a good author. She's done speculative fiction, literary fiction, historical fiction. Every single book that I read by her, and this is my 5th Margaret Atwood now, has been a solid 4 to 5. Good book. If you don't know what this is about, it is about a real-life murderess who lived and possibly killed in Canada in the 1800s, and it's about 16 years after she was tried for these murders, so she's in jail and being interviewed by this really pervy, sort of creepy psychologist. Wasn't super into the passages about his personal life because he was just like staring at women and fantasizing about them all the time, which was like, okay, but yeah, it's just about her life, explaining her own story, and it's a solid book. Margaret Atwood is good. I can't hate her no matter how many people try to convince me to. So yep, I finished it. Bye. So those are all of the books I have to talk about today. Let me know if you've read any of them or if you're interested in reading any of them, and yeah, let me know what you're reading right now. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!